Forgiveness or revenge? The mysterious return of Hung's mother. Everyone today, I want to tell you a tense and emotional story. Two women strangers to each other sit face to face in an old house on a quiet afternoon. Neither of them knows that the person sitting across is the one who once almost destroyed her daughter's life. Every word, every look between them cuts deep into the past. Will Mrs. Bay recognize the one from years ago? And when the truth finally comes out, what will happen? Forgiveness or revenge? This is the story of two mothers, two fates, and one secret that has never been forgiven. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to catch the heart-stopping moment between them. The shadow of Hung's mother returns. The silhouette of Hung's mother appeared. Every step felt heavy, torn between fear and longing, wanting to turn back, yet feeling pulled to move forward. When she reached the old almond tree at the edge of the village, she stopped. In front of her stood Hoai Ca's house, the place she hadn't dared to come near for years. It still looked the same, simple, warm, so different from the emptiness inside her. No one would have guessed this peaceful home once witnessed a painful tragedy. She stood at the gate, her tired eyes blinking fast. She wanted to call out, but her throat tightened. Her trembling hand touched the latch, pushing it slightly. Click, a soft sound like a knock from the past. Is anyone home? She whispered, her voice so faint, the wind nearly carried it away. No answer. The house stayed completely still, only the sound of the wind brushing the curtains and a few drops of dew falling from the roof tiles. She looked around. The door was shut, no one in sight. Maybe Hoai Ca went to the market, she murmured, feeling both relieved and disappointed. She didn't know whether to be glad or sad. She stood there for a long time as if waiting for someone to open the gate. But time passed, and only the sound of birds and wind filled the air. Finally, she turned to leave. Her old sandals slapped softly against the damp ground, each step leaving a faint mark in the mud. She walked slowly, then stopped at the turn of the alley, glancing back at the house one last time. Inside, no one knew. Someone had just been standing there. A few minutes later, Hoai Ca appeared in the sunlight, smiling after returning from the hospital with Tony. She greeted the neighbors, opened the gate, and stepped inside, completely unaware that just moments earlier, the person who had once turned her world upside down had been standing in that very spot. A cool breeze passed through, stirring the curtain. Hoai Ca turned around for a second, saw only a few fallen leaves, smiled gently, and closed the door. Outside, Hung's mother had already disappeared. Now, she was back unannounced, just wanting to see that house one more time. Her heart was a mess of regret, fear, and a small hope that if she met Hoai Ca, she could finally say, "I'm sorry," even if it was too late. As she reached the market, the place was already bustling with voices and movement. She looked around, hoping to see a familiar face, Hoai Ca's, but found no one. Maybe she already left, she thought. Or maybe I came on the wrong day. Not ready to give up, she wandered through the stalls, scanning each face, each passing motorbike. The wind blew through her worn clothes, carrying the earthy scent of the village. She sighed quietly, feeling her chest tighten. Just as she was about to leave, she noticed a middle-aged woman standing by the vegetable stall, small frame, kind but firm face. It was Mrs. Bay Hoai Ca's mother, though the two had never met. Hung's mother froze. Something about the woman felt oddly familiar, though she couldn't explain why. She quickly turned away, walking slowly out of the market, not wanting to be recognized or questioned. Later, Mrs. Bay finished shopping and started walking home. From a distance, Hung's mother followed, keeping her distance. When Mrs. Bay unlocked the gate and stepped inside, Hung's mother stopped again. Through the window, she could see a shadow moving, someone sweeping the yard. Maybe it was Hoai Ca. Her heart pounded. Could she be home already? She hesitated, then gently pushed the gate open. Looks like someone's here. I should go check. A woman's voice called from inside. It was Mrs. Bay. She stepped out and saw a stranger at the gate, thin gray hair, holding a cloth bag. Her face weary, but her eyes cautious. Hoai Ca, someone's asking for you, Mrs. Bay called. The stranger replied softly, her voice trembling. I'm a friend of Hoai Ca. I just need to talk to her for a moment. Come in and sit down. It's hot out there, Mrs. Bay said, still watchful. They went inside. Mrs. Bay poured tea, studying the visitor carefully. So, who exactly are you to Hoai Ca? I'm just someone she used to know. It's been a long time. That's strange, Mrs. Bay frowned. I've lived here with her all this time. How come I've never seen you before? The woman hesitated, then said quietly, Actually, I'm her foster mother. Mrs. Bay looked surprised. Her foster mother? I thought that was someone else. The woman took a slow breath. When Hoai Ca had her accident, my son found her unconscious by the river while he was out fishing. He carried her home. I took care of her, helped her recover. When she woke up, she called me her foster mother. Since then, I treated her like my own. Mrs. Bay froze for a moment, her expression softening a bit. I see. Thank you for saving my daughter. But where have you been all this time? Why come back now? The woman set the teacup down, clasping her hands together. I've been living far away, and I have my own guilt toward this family. I'm Hung's mother, the man who used to love Hoai Ca. Mrs. Bay stiffened. The air in the room turned heavy. Her eyes grew sharp. What did you just say? You're Hung's mother. Yes, she said quietly. Back then, I did a lot of terrible things. I opposed their relationship. I made them suffer. I acted out of pride and fear. Mrs. Bay looked her straight in the eye. I know what happened. My daughter told me everything. What you did was wrong. They were adults. They had the right to love whoever they wanted. How could you be so cruel? Hung's mother lowered her head. You're right. I was wrong. I've paid for it. I left this village, and for months, I've lived with the guilt. Today, I came back only to make things right, to try to fix what I broke, to buy back our old house, and to ask my son for forgiveness. Where is Hung now? Mrs. Bay asked. He's away on a work trip. I haven't had the courage to face him yet. I only watch him from afar. Mrs. Bay sighed. Hoai Ca isn't home either. She took Tony to the city for treatment. The boy's over 2 now, but he still hasn't started talking. Hung's mother lowered her eyes. Oh, poor girl. She's been through so much. Yeah, Mrs. Bay nodded gently. But you know their love wasn't the problem. We the parents were. We didn't understand them. Tears welled in Hung's mother's eyes. Her voice shook. You're right. I was blind. I thought keeping my son close meant love. But it only hurt him more. Now, I just wish he'd call me Mom again, even if only in a dream. Mrs. Bay looked at the woman in front of her, once so harsh now, just an old, lonely figure crushed by her own mistakes. Well, she said softly, knowing you were wrong is already something. But don't come back here yet. Not until Hoai Ca is ready. She's fragile. Seeing you might reopen old wounds. Hung's mother nodded. I understand. I'll leave. But if Hung comes back, please don't tell him I was here. I want to see him quietly when I have the strength. I won't say anything, Mrs. Bay replied. I just hope you truly mean to change. Hung's mother stood bowing her head. Thank you for listening. I only hope that one day my son and Hoai Ca can forgive me. Let's hope so. Mrs. Bay said, her eyes filled with quiet sadness. As Hung's mother walked away, her figure slowly disappeared down the alley. Mrs. Bay watched her go, feeling a strange mix of anger, pity, and hope, hoping that the woman truly meant what she said. Noon. The sun sat high, glazing the old roof tiles of Hoai Ca's house with gold. The village felt unusually quiet, just cicadas buzzing, and the wind slipping through the areca palms by the gate. After the conversation, Mrs. Bay stayed seated at the wooden table, eyes far away. Her head was crowded with mixed thoughts about the woman who had just left, about the past, and about her daughter. She couldn't forget the look in Hung's mother's eyes as she walked out. It wasn't the gaze of someone who still wanted to hurt others, but of someone who had lost everything and had only regret left. She wondered, can people really change? Or are those just words to ease their guilt? She let out a quiet sigh, rubbing the rim of her cold teacup. My girl, she thought, maybe I shouldn't tell you about this. If you knew she was back, you'd never sleep peacefully again. Outside, sunlight poured across the porch, casting shadows of drooping banana leaves. Sparrows called to each other on the roof, pulling up old memories the day Hoai Ca was attacked and found unconscious in the river, the whole village buzzing, and the rumor spreading that Hung's mother was behind it. She remembered running everywhere searching for her daughter, and when she finally saw Hoai Ca on a stretcher pale as paper, she almost collapsed. Her hand trembled at the thought. My God, what kind of mother could be that cruel, she whispered, voice tight. But now, after all these years, seeing that woman return, hair gone, gray back bent, voice shaking, her anger had faded. All that was left was pity. Pity for a mother who loved so selfishly she lost her own child, who clung so hard to control that she turned herself into the villain. As for Hung's mother, after leaving the house, she walked down the narrow village path lined with old bamboo. The wind rattled the leaves like a whisper from the past. She moved slowly, head bowed with an emptiness she couldn't name. Meeting Mrs. Bay had felt like looking into a mirror, both of them mothers. But with one difference, Mrs. Bay had managed to hold on to her child, while she had not. At the small bridge over the canal, she stopped. The clear water reflected a thin gray-haired woman with red, tired eyes. She looked down and gave a sad smile. Is that really me? The one who made so many people suffer? Memories reeled by. The day Hung left home, leaving her in a fury. The day news came that Hoai Ca had been hurt, and she still refused to believe it. The day they took her away, the accusations, the months inside 4 damp walls with only the sound of rain dripping past the bars. She used to resent the whole world, resent Hoai Ca, resent Hung, resent herself. But the longer she lived with it, the more the resentment turned into fear. Fear of seeing her son again. Fear of his disappointed eyes. Fear of hearing him say "Mom" without any love in it. Now, after years of running, she had come back not to be forgiven, but just to look at the place where it all began. If they're living peacefully, maybe that's enough, she murmured, voice unsteady. Just then, a familiar voice came from behind Auntie. "What are you doing out here?" It was Mon Hung's neighbor. He stopped his bicycle and stared at her in surprise. She flinched, then forced a smile. "Oh, just taking a walk. Seeing the old village again. It's been a long time. You're from around here. You look unfamiliar." She hesitated. She couldn't tell the truth. "I used to live here, but I've been away. I came back hoping to buy my old house. That one at the end of the road," he asked. "Someone new's living there now. A woman named Hoai Ca rented it to start a garden." "That's the one," she nodded, eyes dropping. "That house." Man looked at her with quiet sympathy. "It's fine to come back and look around, but everyone's finally living in peace. Please don't stir up the past. People have suffered enough." She nodded, a thin smile. "I know. I don't want to bother anyone. I just wanted to look." He thought of asking more, but something in her eyes, cloudy, sad, and very deep, made him stop. He simply nodded and pedaled away. She watched him until he disappeared behind the bamboo. That afternoon, after lunch, Mrs. Bay still felt heavy. She sat on the porch, squinting at the harsh sky, a strange feeling rising in her chest. "I wonder if that woman truly regrets it," she muttered. "If she does, I hope heaven shows her the way back." Across the fields, under an old banyan tree, Hung's mother sat to rest. Cicadas hummed, the branches rustled. She closed her eyes and leaned against the trunk, letting the sun filter through the leaves onto her wrinkled face. In her head, she kept hearing Mrs. Bay's voice, firm but kind, sounding a lot like her own conscience. "They're grown. Let them love who they love. Don't stand in their way. You'll regret it for life." She broke down crying. For the first time in years, her tears weren't from fear. They were because she finally understood it was time to live differently. "You're right," she whispered. "I've been wrong my whole life. The only thing left is to live decently and make it right." By late afternoon, clouds gathered and the wind picked up. She stood and decided to walk the village once more. Bamboo groves, the canal, the old house moving slowly, as if each step touched a memory. Passing Hoai Ca's place again, she stopped. The door was half closed, no voices inside. She stood at the fence, looking in. "They're probably napping," she thought. "Good. I won't disturb them." Then a child's laugh rang out in the distance, clear and bright. Tony's laugh. her grandson, whom she had never met. She held her breath and looked toward the narrow lane. A young woman was walking a little boy back from the road. Hoai Ca home earlier than expected. Her heart pounded. In that instant, memories crashed over her. Regret surged up and choked her. She turned, quickly slipped into a side path, and hid behind a tree. She didn't have the courage to face them. From her hiding place, she watched Hoai Ca open the gate and lead the boy inside. The mother kissed the child's forehead and smiled. The sight squeezed her heart. If only I hadn't been so selfish. Maybe I'd be seeing this up close. Maybe I'd be holding my grandson right now. The wind tugged at her hair. She smiled through tears. My son, I'm back, but I'll keep my distance. Seeing you happy is enough. As the sky turned red with sunset, she left the village. She walked slowly and didn't look back. Behind her, the temple bell rang long and low in the wind. Inside the house, a faint breeze drifted through the window, carrying the familiar scent of areca and rice husk smoke. Hoai Ca glanced back, saw no one, and smiled. That's strange. Smells just like Hung's home, she whispered. She picked Tony up and went inside, never knowing that just a few steps away, the woman who once wanted to hurt her had been standing there quietly walking away, carrying a lifetime of remorse.